everyone. In this paragraph, we're going to talk about building body paragraphs or writing body paragraphs. And this lesson will be elaborating on the previous lesson where we learned about the different parts of a paragraph. So in this lesson, we'll talk about the components of a body paragraph and putting together a body paragraph using something called the meal plan. So the meal plan is something you'll see as you get further into the units, but I don't think it's too early at all to introduce the meal plan to you all. So the different components of a body paragraph. Write meaningful and sufficiently broad topic sentences. Topic sentences are informed by the points of support in your thesis statement. Support your topic sentences, paragraphs with facts, relevant information, evidence, etc. Relate each sentence in a paragraph to the topic sentence to achieve unity. Choose transitional words and expressions carefully to achieve logical coherence. Vary your sentence pattern. Choose precise diction and active verbs, and use the passive voice sparingly. So now we'll talk about the meal plan. So meal plan is an acronym. So meal, the M in meal stands for main idea, which is the topic sentence. The E stands for evidence. A stands for the analysis of that evidence, and L is the linking sentence. So the main idea is the topic you discuss in the paragraph. Each paragraph should focus on only one topic. Establish your main idea with a topic sentence. Topic sentences are informed by the points of support in your thesis statement. So I know we've talked about topic sentences so much, but I still want to continue talking about them because alongside of the thesis statement, topic sentences are like some of the most important sentences that you'll write in your essay. So what I'll do is I'll play this video for you all about topic sentences, and it also talks about the difference between topic sentences and thesis statements. So we talked about thesis statements a few lessons ago, and I also talked about how to differentiate between a topic sentence and a thesis statement, but this somewhat entertaining video will further explain that distinction and then further explain topic sentences.
We speak student!
Thesis sentence versus topic sentence, a la schmo. Some things are very similar and yet not quite the same. Skateboards and surfboards. Workstations and playstations. Network programming and cow pies.
Oh, gross!
If you mistake any of these for their counterpart, you can wind up skating along a tidal wave,
Whoa!
wondering why your controller is broken,
This game sucks.
or spending all evening staring mindlessly into a pasture. By the same token, it's important to understand the difference between a thesis sentence and a topic sentence. A thesis is usually one or two sentences at the end of your introduction that states the main point of the entire essay. Clearly, he's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I tend to run things around here.
Like a huge deal. When he enters a room, we suggest you give up your seat.
Take mine! No, take mine!
The thesis makes a clear, arguable assertion that will be developed in the following paragraphs.
Wow, he is so assertive.
He's sort of like your Uncle Harold, who uses every family gathering as an excuse to make bold claims in front of an involuntarily rapt audience.
Sasquatch, Superman, global warming. Look, just think about it.
However, unlike Uncle Harold, your essay is actually going to substantiate the claims you make. Also, it won't end up passed out in the tuna casserole after dinner. Everything that comes after the thesis should support and relate back to this main sentence. If anything doesn't relate to the thesis, well, then it's probably a tangent and can be cut.
No!
Tangents are fine in geometry. They're not quite so popular in the essay writing world. A strong thesis demonstrates a unique perspective on the topic at hand. It's something that can be debated and is hopefully somewhat interesting. Many people like wearing shoes isn't a great thesis. It may be true, but the New York Post probably isn't going to stop the presses for that one. And now, the guy he often gets confused with, the topic sentence. A topic sentence is sort of a mini thesis. Instead of being the central point of an entire essay, he's really just in charge of previewing the content of his own paragraph. If the thesis is the general, the topic sentences are his lieutenants.
Reporting for duty, sir.
Topic sentences make a point in support of the thesis. Remember, everything has to relate back to the big guy, and ideally help to convince the reader to understand where you're coming from. So there you go. A thesis is the head honcho in charge of the whole essay. And the topic sentences are his minions, in charge of making sure that the body paragraph runs smoothly.
Pick up the pace, paragraph 3. Faster, boys, faster.
Don't confuse the two. They hate that.
Please, he wishes he looked this good.
Why, I oughta. I'm not saying cats are from outer space, but I'm not saying they aren't either.
So hopefully this video clarified some things for you regarding topic sentences and thesis statements. Next, after the topic sentence, we have evidence. And the evidence you provide should support your main idea and establish your credibility. Evidence can draw from research you conduct, such as information from interviews, books, and websites. The sources you use should be reliable. The most reliable sources are scholarly and peer-reviewed. Some instructors allow you to use personal experience or anecdotes as part of your evidence. Evidence should be repeated as many times as necessary. So in your case, your NROC will tell you what your evidence can be or should be. It's usually a mix of personal experience and the articles that they give you to read. So there are some instances, though, where they would prefer that you did not use personal experience. And in English 111, like when my students are writing research essays, I don't let them use personal experience, but it's totally it's totally up to the professor or whatever assignment you're being given regarding what type of evidence you can and should use, okay? But, so basically your evidence is going to come either from the articles that NROC provides for you, or it's going to be personal experience, okay? And again, evidence should be repeated as many times as necessary. And when I say repeated as many times as necessary, I mean different types of evidence, not like the same fact being used over and over again. And next we have analysis. Analysis is your own interpretation, in your own words, of how the evidence supports your main idea. It explains why you included the evidence. Ask yourself what you are trying to prove by including the evidence. How does the evidence relate to your argument or thesis statement? Analysis should be repeated as many times as necessary. So basically, evidence and analysis work together. So your paper, if you're using the meal plan, you're going to kind of alternate evidence, analysis, depending on how much evidence and how much analysis you're inserting into a particular body paragraph. But they kind of go together, okay? And then finally, you have your linking sentence. So the final part of a well-constructed paragraph is a linking sentence, which relates back to the main idea of the paragraph and of the paper. You can also use the linking sentence to preview and transition to the next paragraph. So the linking sentence could also be the concluding sentence. It can serve like a couple of different functions. So here I have an example paragraph. So first I have the thesis statement for you, and then a short body paragraph that corresponds to this thesis statement. So the thesis statement says, the art of graffiti is commonly thought to be associated with gang activity, but it is actually a form of creative expression with many similarities to traditional painting. Graffiti isn't only an act of rebellion or criminality. It is a form of creative expression. Graffiti is the art of using, quote, distinctive calligraphy, images and colors to write or paint murals called pieces, and signatures known as tags, end quote, to empower and give a vehicle of expression to artists. And then here, this is called an in-text citation, which we'll talk about a little bit down the road. But this is just how you give credit to your evidence. The stereotype of graffiti artists as young male delinquents is false and denies the artistry behind it. However, graffiti, more than a simple stencil and a spray can of paint, it requires a mastery of skills more commonly associated with traditional painting. So here I have a color-coded version of the paragraph I just read. So we have our main idea, or our topic sentence. We have our evidence, and this evidence is a quote from a source by authors named Hasley and Young. We have an explanation of that evidence, or an analysis of that evidence, and then we can link this paragraph to the upcoming paragraph. Like if we look at our thesis statement, we'll see like, okay, first we talk about graffiti as a form of creative expression, and then we're going to talk about it as being similar to traditional painting. And in the linking sentence, we see the phrase traditional painting. So this is how we know, like, one, we're linking this paragraph to the thesis statement, but we're also going to link this body paragraph to the second body paragraph. Okay, so this kind of, like, this repeats a little bit what I said in the previous lesson, but I'm more giving it a name, which is the meal plan. So again, there are foundation resources from NROC that you can use. The meal plan is very common. It's not something I made up or NROC made up, so there's also a lot of online resources out there for you. Basically, what I want you to take away from this lesson is, in order to write a very sound body paragraph, you need to have a main idea, which will come in the form of your topic sentence. You need to have evidence that supports the claim you're making in this paragraph. And then you have to have an analysis of that evidence, which explains how this piece of evidence, this piece of research you found, is proof of the larger argument that you're making. And then you will link the sentence, or link the body paragraph to the thesis statement, to the next body paragraph, just wrap things up with this final sentence, okay? This is like a very short body paragraph, but it's just a way for you to see like how this meal plan works, okay? Because more than likely what something you're going to write, and this meal plan is more for like the longer essays that you'll be writing, starting in unit 4 and moving all the way through to the end to unit 10. But you'll more than likely have you'll have like one point that you're trying to prove. Like, okay, in this body paragraph, I'm going to prove that graffiti is a form of creative expression. And instead of one piece of evidence and one piece of analysis, you'll probably have a piece of evidence, an analysis of that evidence, and then another piece of evidence and an analysis of that evidence. So you'll probably have like a couple of chunks of evidence in your body paragraph before you move on to like your next big point, okay? So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out, and good luck.